is up, gang? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a tutorial on two different moves, the double lift and the Emsley Count. Both are pretty important moves. I definitely think the double lift is more important, and I will be showing you a few different ways that you can do that, because we are going to go more in depth on that, because that is actually the main reason I'm doing this video. But I thought I might as well also teach you the Emsley Count, which I will be teaching one trick today that you can do with it. Just the basic, I'm not teaching the entire trick, just the part that I do in the trick that I use the Emsley Count for, which you can use just as a simple making the card appear, disappear, go somewhere, etc. So I'm going to be showing you that today, but I'm really excited. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the first move and how you can do it. Alrighty, you all, so starting with this first one, I am going to be using the Cyber City bicycle cars for this one, but starting with the double lift. It's very simple. It's basically just a way that you're going to be able to show one card when there's actually two. And then show. But so starting with the first one, which is the double lift, right? How are you going to be able to do this? Basically, there's a few different ways you can do this. There's a pushover double lift, which is pretty simple. It's just going to be like pushing over a double like that. There's also the pinky break, which is basically where you're using your pinky to pull down two cards. I actually haven't learned that one, so I'm not going to be able to show that variation today, but if you do want to learn that, comment down below and I will try and figure out how to do it so I can teach it to you guys. And then there's another one, which is what I use, where you actually, it's called getting a thumb break. It's just kind of what I use. You're just pulling up the cards a little bit and then sticking your pinky in there so that you can get a good double. It's probably the easiest one if you're just a beginner, but I will be showing mainly that one, the basics of that. So let's get into the first one. Alrighty, you all, so just giving you more of a backwards view. As you can see, I'm holding the cards just like this, and what I'm going to be doing is taking my thumb, I'm holding the deck like this, and I'm just riffling down the back of that deck till I can get to just two cards, right? And secretly, this is all under the look of just riffling, just like this. And from here, you can't even tell that I'm riffling, really. It's very hard to see it. But I'm using this, my left thumb, to kind of almost shield it a little bit. But I'm just doing this riffling motion. And what I'm doing is I'm just getting it till I have two cards, right? And what I'm doing after that is I'm then going from holding two to jamming my pinky in that break. Not even like all the way in. This would be an exaggerated way of showing it, but you're literally just using your pinky just to hold it, right? And so, like I said, so you're using your thumb going up till you have two cards, and then you're just using your pinky to hold that break. You can see that, right? And so that is the main mechanics behind it, in which case then I would grab it with my thumb and I would just push it over. And the same thing too when you're trying to close it up. Once again, just using my thumb to riffle down till I get two, and then grabbing it with my other fingers and turning it over. So what are some things that you want to watch out? First of all, the biggest thing that I see a lot of beginners do when they're doing this is that they'll go from just holding it, they'll go from this, let me just zoom out just a little bit so you can see, but they'll be doing this and they'll have it like this, and they'll be showing you that they have a break. And that's mainly because they put too much of their pinky in this break. So that's the biggest thing. You really want to get comfortable, but you do want it to have as little as possible so that from the front you can't really see that break at all. And you also want to, the biggest thing I can tell you is just to practice. Practice just getting two, and practice making it just look really smooth, whether it's turning it over or whether it's just getting the actual break itself. And the other thing that I can tell you, if you're having trouble getting it from the front, you could do what I do. I'll actually have I have my left thumb here. I'll just do a riffle with these two, and then I'll pick up and square it up. So all you're doing is almost like you're going to be riffling down on the deck to tell them to stop, right? So sometimes I'll use it like, oh, stop right there, right? That's where you have them stop or whatever. But you can also use it like this. You just do 1, 2, and then you just square up, pushing it back and catching that break. That is something you can do. So once again, I'll do it slowly. You're just doing 1, 2. and then I'm looking like I'm squaring, but what I'm actually doing is just pushing this, I'm pulling it up enough to grab it with my back thumb, and then I'm pushing this part down as I'm then grabbing the brake with my pinky. You see that? So that is something else that you can do, because I've actually had more trouble trying to do like the pushover, double lift, as well as the pinky count. Pinky count, I can give you like a basics of it. I'm not good at it, but you're just using your pinky to pull down a certain amount of cards. You only pull down 2, in which case you'll already have your pinky in that brake, and then you can turn it over. But honestly, I think the easiest one is either just to do it like this, where you're grabbing that brake there, or just to pick it up with your thumb. I use both of those. Now, I am going to show you just one simple trick that I do that actually uses that the move, so that you can get the general basics of it. What I'll do is I'll have somebody choose a card. Okay, let's just say we go with this one, the 6 of diamonds. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll put it back on top, okay, and once again, if I give it a shake, I can change it into the Jack of Hearts, right? And so that was the twirl change, that move that I did that changed it, but I did get a double to do the shake, to do the twirl change. Also, sometimes then I'll even do kind of like, oh, hold on, let me get rid of that. I'll grab a new card, and then once again, I can even go into like the 1, 2, 3, and then it changes like that. Whatever trick you want to do, the double lift is a very, very cool move, very cool, important move that you might need to use. So I'm really glad that I got around to teaching you guys how to do it. But the biggest thing that I can tell you, the biggest advice I can give you, is just keep practicing. It's a hard move, it's important, but it's not one that you're going to get immediately, so make sure that you keep practicing. But before we go into the Emsley Count, I'm going to teach you one more variation, which is the pushover double lift. Basically, all that you're going to be doing is almost like you're going to be spreading the cards, but you're just pushing over 2 and then pulling them back to get that double. How are we going to do this? Let me break it down into a few simple steps. The first being, you have to get very, what's the word for it? You have to get it almost like it's normalized. You have to get used to this pushing over move kind of thing, because you have to make it look like you're literally just making it look normal. And the other thing is that you have to get down the move of squaring up the deck, right? So like if I have the cards messed up, I'll want to square it up like that, because that is the basic gist of what you're going to make it look like. You're going to be looking like you push it over and then square it up, and then you have the double, right? You push over, you square up, and you have that double. So what are you doing? You're pushing over, okay? And what you're doing is you're using your right hand to see how many cards you're going to be pushing over, because you only want 2. So you're using your left hand to push over these cards, and as soon as you're also going to be using these bottom 2, your middle finger and your ring finger, to be feeling how many, right? So I know this is the second one. I can see it here. I can feel it. As soon as the 2 fingers underneath touch that second card, that is when my right hand then switches from grabbing to looking like it's squaring up. And what I'm doing in that action is I'm grabbing these 2 and I'm making it look like I pushed them over, but I'm actually pushing them like this, and I'm keeping my pinky underneath. So then, even though it doesn't look like it from the front, I then have that pinky break, right? So let's go over the steps again. You're pushing out, feeling, changing, your right hand goes here, it grabs, pushes these back in the look that it's squaring up, and sticking your pinky in that little break right there, okay? In which case you can then go into doing a double or whatever you want to close off the move. So yeah, right? So you're pushing over, square back up, and then you can immediately go into doing a double just like that. And the only other thing I can tell you guys, one more tip before we move on to the Emsley Count, is you're going to mess up, okay? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to make you guys think you're not, because it's going to happen. It still happens to me. Sometimes you're going to get more than 1 card. Sometimes you'll only get 1 card. Whatever it may be, you're going to mess up, okay? It's going to happen. It's part of the learning curve. It's part of the process. But the biggest thing is that learn different fallbacks, learn different ways that you can fix it. For example, in my trick, sometimes I'll do like where I'm changing it. Let's say I don't realize that I have 3 cards. Sometimes what I'll do is that when I flip it over, I'll be like, okay, and I'll do this, and then I'll be like, oh, sorry, we have an extra card, and I'll just turn it over, right? And then I'll go into changing or whatever it might be. Or sometimes I'm like, okay, check this out. You see that card right here? Now we only have the 2 cards, and if I have a third one, I'll be like, oh, hold on, we don't need that. Because here's the thing, even if you did want 3, or even if you actually show the 2 and then you do it like this, you have to have some way of getting back into it. And that's the cool thing about being a magician and about learning different moves, is that, for example, let's say that I do this, and I mean to show, I push over the double, but I actually show 2, I can say, oh, we don't need that card, and push it over, because I'll find some way, whether it's turning it over on my leg where then I have it again or something. That's the cool thing, guys, is that we have many, many, many ways that we can fix things, and the audience won't know, because as long as you're able to do something, you have to, as long as you're able to have quick thinking and fix something without them seeing, you can still go on with your trick, right? So like, what I did was, let's say I have the 2, I actually show this one, I'll say, oh, we don't need that. And what I'm doing is I'll then be like, okay, make sure this card is normal. What I'm doing another pushover, this time only 1 card, and I'm just pushing over and using my leg or my stomach or whatever to push it over so that I have it face up, and then I'm coming back and putting this on that card before the audience can even see it, right? So let me go over that one time. And this is not like a tutorial for this specifically, it's just showing you what you could do for different scenarios. This is one I've had to do before. I'm like, oh, we don't need that card. Now, make sure that this is normal, okay? It's good? Alright, perfect. And then I just cover up, I immediately can grab the double and hold it as 1, even though I have 2, right? This is just an example. It's really up to you guys, but this is something that I would advise if you're learning the double lift, if you're going to be using it more, is think about the trick you're doing. What am I going to be doing? What is the effect? What are the possible dangers in that flashing? Like, what could I do wrong? And then think of different scenarios. What can I do to fix that if it does go wrong? Okay? So that's the biggest thing I can tell you. But now, without any further ado, let's get straight into the Emsley Count. Alrighty, you all. So for this last one, this is going to be the Emsley Count. Let me just give you kind of a gist of what you're going to be doing. Basically, the Emsley Count is how you can... So let me just show you kind of what I do in my scenario. Generally, I will have a card like this. You can see that this is the 8 of spades, okay? And what I'll be doing is telling them that I'm going to vanish that card if they watch, and I'll do it like this. I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. You can see that it's completely no longer face up, in which case then I can show it's still face up. Or sometimes this is a move that's used in twisting the aces. If you guys do want me to show how that, teach you that trick, make sure that you comment down below and I can teach you that. It's a really good trick. But basically the entire point of the Emsley Count is just to be able to ignore a card that may or may not already be there, that may be face up, to make it look like it's no longer, or to make something else face up, etc. So it's just, the whole point of it is just being able to make it look like you have 4 face down cards, or 4 cards of a certain type, without showing one that you may have face up, or that may be different one, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're just counting 1 card twice without them noticing. How are we going to do it? So first up, let me just explain that if you want this to work, you have to have whatever the card is you don't want them to see in the second to last position. And so by that, I mean you have to have 2 cards on top of it and 1 card underneath. If you do it in the second one, you can see it won't work. If you do it in the last position, you can see that it won't work. And so by won't work, I mean with this, I'm teaching you one way to do it, a series of moves that does it, that I've been taught. I'm sure there's other ways, and you could adapt it. So like if you had in the bottom, I suppose you could find a way to make it work like that or something. But again, so I guess I'm just saying with this series of moves I'm teaching you, it has to be in the third position. And if you want me to teach you how to make it in the bottom, or how to make it in the second one without anybody seeing, oops, I messed that up, without anybody seeing like this, then I can teach you. But for now, I'm just teaching you what I've been what I mainly use, and what you're probably going to use in any tricks that you're going to need this, which is going to be the third position. Now, the basics behind what's happening is you're showing one card, you're pushing over a double, which has their card underneath it, and then you're showing the other two cards, right? So you're showing one, and then you're pushing over a double. I'm sorry, I had that in the wrong position. See what I mean? No, you're pushing over one, pushing over a double, and then showing the the last card, and then showing the first one again. So how are you going to do it? Now, most people will literally just do it like this, where they, again, I had it in the wrong position. So first of all, I am going to tell you, if you didn't learn the double lift from my video or a different video, you need to make sure that you learn that first, and mainly because you're going to have to be doing, the form of the double lift, which is the pushover double lift. I mean, I believe that's what it's called, but it's where you're actually pushing the cards using your thumb and making sure that you grab them, right? So you are going to have to learn that double lift. I will also teach it here, obviously, in this part of the video, but it would be helpful just to get the basics of what the double lift is, so make sure that you check out the video, this same video, but earlier on in the video, make sure you watch that. And by the way, before we get any further into this, I just want to thank you for making it this far into the video, and if you did enjoy, make sure that you drop a like and smash subscribe. I really appreciate the support, and I am posting every week, so make sure that you comment down below what you want me to post, if you want more like this, but also if you like this video or any of the other videos, make sure to check those out and also subscribe. So I really appreciate it. I'm getting so close to my goal of 100. I can't wait to get there, so thank you so much, and let's get back into the video. So like I said, once again, so let's just say you have in the third one. Hopefully by now you have learned part of a double lift, but I'm going to show you the way I was taught and then the way I do it, because there's slight differences that it was easier for me to do. That doesn't mean it's going to be easier for you, but for now I'll show you how it works. So you have to, first of all, I got to say this, you have to get used to pushing over a card like this with your thumb without showing that third card, because what you're going to have to do is push over one of the cards like this. Then you're going to be pushing over the double while you grab that same card, the first one. Then you're showing them. So that's the first thing you got to learn. You have to practice. Just take the time before you even learn this. Just take the time to have completely 4 cards or normal, and just be pushing them over like this, one at a time. Try pushing over 2, and just get used to pushing over 1 and then pushing over 2, etc. Right? That's the first thing I'm going to tell you, that it'll just make it easier. Now the next thing, so that's the first thing that you're going to do, is you're just going to push off 1 card into your hand, okay? Now, you're at the point, a lot of you probably, where you have the cards a little bit like, you can see that they're kind of like spread out. That's good, because what that means is that when you go to grab the other one, it's going to be easier for you to grab both of them, okay? Because if you do the first one, you push it over and the cards are like this, it's going to be a lot harder to get that double without them seeing that you're obviously taking 2 cards, okay? So that's the first thing you do, right? You push over the first card. And when are you going to grab this card? You have to time it just right, so that as soon as that card is covered, right? This one is covered, and as soon as you're pulling it away, you don't want them to see you pulling it like this. You want it to look like this card is already underneath, okay? And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. But yeah, so you're going to be pushing over 1, then the second one as you grab, almost, and I kind of like flick the cards too. I make a little bit of a noise and a little bit of like flut as I do it. It's the same as there is a move that makes it look like you take the card off the top, but you're actually taking the card off the bottom, and you can keep doing it, right? It's the same thing, and I can also teach you guys that one if you'd like. Comment down below. But that is, it uses the same, like, using sound and doing it really fast, just like that, right? Which makes it look like you're taking off the top, when in reality you're taking the bottom one off again, right? I'll show it like this too, right? It looks like you're taking it off the top, but you're actually taking it off the bottom. It's easier to see now, but so it uses the same thing. I do, at least. That's just one thing that I like to do, is that I give it some sound, some flick when I do it. I feel like it helps distract the audience's eye that you're taking a double, right? So you push off 1, do it the second one with that little flick. Now, after this, you are basically done. You just show 3 and 4. You already have the double on the bottom in case you're wondering where it is after that. And if you ever want to set it up again, you can just put it in the second to the bottom and once again do it. Now, let's go into the different similarities. The tiny differences that I have as opposed to what most people have, which I'll show you, is the biggest thing. I always had trouble, I've learned more so now, but I had trouble pushing it over without pushing like all 3. So what I would do is I would actually use my middle finger, ring finger, and thumb. I'd be holding it almost like I was going to drop it. And what I would do is take my thumb on my left hand, I'd pull it over a little bit. So, and it's something that I think I taught 3-card Monty. I used the similar thing to get into a similar move. But what I'm doing is I'm pulling it over, so I almost have like this, where you can see that second card. I'm holding it like this. And so what that would then do is that then I would immediately be ready to grab this and do it. I don't know. It was just a little tiny difference that made it easier for me. Instead of having to push over 1 and be afraid that I was going to show this 8, I would just pull it like this, grab here, and then I would immediately go into doing the Emsley count, right? So I messed up there, but I don't know. It was just something that made it easier for me to get it to work. And again, this is not like this is the rule. It's completely up to you whether or not this works for you. And if it doesn't, make sure that you try and find what works best for you. But this was just something that worked for me. Push it over, and then I would go into doing the Emsley count. And I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure that's the only other difference that I would have, really. I will post a link to a link in the description to me doing this trick if you guys would like to see, like, doing the trick that I actually use this Emsley count in. It's called McDonald's Aces. I think I already did it before. If I did, I will post the link to the short below, and if not, I will make a video, just a quick short, and I'll put the link in the description below so you can see how I use it. And if you guys get this video to, let's just say, 50 likes, I can actually teach you guys the entirety of that trick, which uses this Emsley count. But ultimately, that is going to be it for today's video. Alright, you all, that is going to be it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you drop a like below just to show me that you supported it, and smash subscribe. I really appreciate your guys' support. We're so close to 100. Get me to that goal. I really, really, really appreciate it. And make sure that you comment down below if any of these parts that you liked or were confused about. I will put another video explaining more in depth about it. And once again, remember to check out the video down below of me doing the actual performance of the trick I use the Emsley count for, and let me know if you want me to teach you that. I really appreciate it, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.